Plug and play PSL for everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this deeply personal, destiny shaping moment in the PSL Co-work Network series, where we don't just talk about opportunity, we live the stories of people who choose to seize it and transform their lives. I am Francis Bestman Isugu, lead founder and steward of PSL Luxury Lifestyle brand, the ecosystem built to deliver shelter with deferred luxury housing, professional clothing without financial humiliation, nutritional security that ends survival anxiety, and dignified income through training that pays from day one. If you are at a crossroads right now, staring at a decision that could redefine your financial future, your family's security, and your legacy, thank you for being here with me. Today, I share a real journey that captures exactly what many stakeholders are experiencing. I am at the crossroads to my destiny, building my empire of auto staking as a DFY PSL stakeholder on the CASHWAPP community. This is not theory. This is one member's lived path, anonymized for privacy, but drawn straight from the numbers and emotions unfolding in CASHWAPP A1 right now. They stood at the same fork most face. Keep playing small in traditional systems with high fees, slow payouts, and no real impact, or step boldly into DFY staking with PSL, where leverage, compounding, and community job creation turn ambition into empire. They chose DFY, guided optional, lower daily effort, algorithm-supported execution, and invested $40,000 total in the 6-month compounding payout plan that broke down to $28,760 for the first month's 144 funded stakes, maximum per stakeholder under current mechanics, plus the modest $80 per professional training cost, all managed seamlessly by PSL. No need to hire, train, or supervise. Our team handles everything. The result? In the very first month, their staking directly contributed to creating 322 professional jobs. Real people placed in trading, training, and hub operations, and in predictable payroll funded by the ecosystem's engine. From month 1, the monthly payout due was $5,880. Instead of withdrawing, they elected the auto-staking compounding option, allowing PSL to retain and reinvest that payout for 6 full months, compounding at the DFY structure's proven mechanics. That consistent retention grew their effective monthly payout from $5,880 to $13,099 by the end of the 6-month period. That is not magic. It is disciplined leverage applied to a transparent, values-aligned system. Then the payout cycle began. 5 cycles from the end of month 7 through the end of month 11. Over those 5 distributions, the net returns on the original $40,000 investment reached 85%, turning the initial capital into approximately $65,000 in realized value. Plus, the ongoing compounding streams that continue beyond. More importantly, those 144 professionals they trained and funded are now generating consistent value, paying monthly through their contributions rather than the stakeholder paying salaries out of pocket. PSL manages the entire chain, training via Power 40 method, placement in trading and hub activity, payroll stability, the stakeholder stakes DFY, compounds and watches impact, and income multiply. Let us pause and feel what this crossroads really means. Before PSL, this member was juggling gigs, watching platforms take 10 to 20% cuts, waiting weeks for delayed payments, and feeling the weight of precarity. No shelter queue priority, no styling support, no food security buffer, no predictable income. The pain was real. Doubt about tomorrow, anxiety over family needs, the quiet fear that ambition would never break through. Choosing DFY wasn't about avoiding work. It was about choosing velocity. It was saying, I want my time, my capital, and my contribution to compound, not erode. Navar Ravikant captured the principle perfectly. You are not going to get rich renting out your time. You must own equity, a piece of a business, to gain your financial freedom. In PSL, DFY staking gives you exactly that. Equity-like ownership in the ecosystem's growth engine. Trading activity, arbitrage spreads, masterclass fees, hub operations. Without the solo grind. Your stakes fund professionals who execute. Their output compounds your returns. The full core values become accessible sooner. Compare this to traditional staking or investment platforms. High-fee mutual funds or retail crypto plays often deliver 5 to 15% annual returns after cuts and volatility, with zero job creation, zero community impact, zero tie to real departments delivering shelter, clothing, feeding, and income. PSL's DFY auto-staking plan, by contrast, delivers 85% net over 11 months in this example, while directly creating 322 jobs from one stakeholder's entry. That is not just financial return, that is civilization-level leverage. One person's decision rippling into dignity for hundreds. Emotionally, the shift is profound. This member described the moment of choosing auto-staking retention as the day I stopped surviving and started building empire. No more watching payouts disappear into daily expenses. Instead, watching them grow while sleeping. No more isolation in decision making. Instead, partnering with PSL's expert team and algorithm. The compounding wasn't just numbers on a dashboard. It was proof that dignity scales. More jobs funded, more families secured, more jobs possible down the line. Time plays a starring role here. The 6-month retention phase felt long in the moment, but it brought the velocity later. 5 payout cycles delivered the bulk of the 85% net return in just months 7 to 11. That is the power of patience in a leveraged system. Short-term discipline creates long-term freedom. Jim Rohn reminded us, we must all suffer one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. This stakeholder chose discipline, and regret is no longer part of their story. The empire extends beyond personal wealth. Those 144 professionals aren't abstract. They are real co-architects now earning, contributing, and assessing the 4 values themselves. The stakeholders' $40k became a flywheel, funding training, generating trading output, compounding returns, enabling more stakes, creating more jobs. This is how PSL scales, stakeholder by stakeholder, city by city, dignity by dignity. For anyone at their own crossroads, recognize the fork. One path is familiar, slow, high friction, limited impact. The other is DFY staking in CASHWAPP A1, guided, compounding, job creating, values delivering. The numbers in this story are not outliers. They reflect what maximum staking with auto compounding can achieve when aligned with PSL's mechanics. Peter Thiel's definite optimism fits perfectly. Don't hope for a better future through vague effort. Build it with concrete plans. DFY is the blueprint. PSL provides the execution. You provide the stake. The result? From $40k to $65k plus in realized value, 322 jobs created, ongoing streams, and a legacy of contribution. This member's story is your mirror. If you are feeling the pull, the quiet voice saying, "This could be me," honor it. Calculate what waiting costs. Another 6 months of status quo or 6 months of compounding toward empire. As we close, let Naval anchor us again. Seek wealth, not money or status. Wealth is having assets that earn while you sleep. In PSL, DFY auto staking, your assets earn, professionals work, jobs multiply, and dignity spreads. Why you build the life you were meant for. My heartfelt call today. If this crossroads feels like yours, step forward. Explore DFY staking options in CASHWAPP A1. Review the 6-month compounding plan. See how your stake can fund professionals and compound returns. Reach out via WhatsApp 0810-2427-303 or in the community. We are here to guide you through alignment. Your empire isn't waiting for permission. It is waiting for your decision. Build big, live well, move fast. Together. Thank you for being here. If this story moved you, share it. Someone at their own crossroads needs to see what is possible. I will see you building. Welcome once again, like I mentioned earlier. PSL is currently open to stakeholders who have the opportunity to earn from its founders' equity, even though it is not guaranteed that everyone who becomes a stakeholder will earn. If you were among the first 720 stakeholders who supported PSL's first hub opening, then you have your chance of getting equity. And there are 2 ways you can get equity as a stakeholder. Firstly, if you fund 36 maximum stake per week and repeat it 4 times in the first month, then you qualify for 50% of the 10% reserved equity for stakeholders. But if you couldn't fund up to 36 maximum stakes in your first week, but you could fund any other amount of stakes in your first week and then continue consistently in the first month, you then have a chance of being part of those to receive the next 50% of the 10% equity reserved for stakeholders. So the numbers here make it different. Only 20 stakeholders can get the first 50% of the 10% equity reserved for stakeholders. The next 50% is for the next 720 stakeholders. So it's either you are in the smaller number sharing 50% or you are in the larger number sharing the same 50%. This is a fair game for those who can come in. It is to encourage many persons to do the most they can at the onset. Remember that PSL does not ask anyone to unnecessarily promote it because we already have a team of promoters who are invited to join the team for their own equity. So joining as a stakeholder does not mean you will be promoting PSL. Otherwise, only your stake do the work. In fact, being a stakeholder has no other effort required of you. Once you have funded your stake, we do the rest of the work for you. That is why it is called done for you. Why we have the DFY option that allows you to do it yourself when you want to experience the same system we use. We only help you set it up. Once set up, you follow all of the instructions. So your job will be to follow the instructions and execute the instructions for staking every day. Then wait for the outcome, control the account that you are using to place your stake within, but you pay our monthly membership fee, which is $80, funding our staff as we continue to provide you the setups required to make your funds yield returns in weekly payouts of 85 or up to 45% rather. Whereas if you joined the DFY option where it is done for you, then you enjoy a monthly payout of 20%, which you can compound. So when you choose to compound it, then you earn up to 85% final returns. Because when compounding, it means you are funding to maximum, and funding to maximum also means you can choose to auto stake. When you choose to auto stake, it also means that there will be a compounding returns, okay, which allows us to get more professionals trained, okay, into the ecosystem's operation, and then you benefit from the net return, which is 85% after receiving your full payout. So calculating the total of 5 payouts after compounding months, that is from month 2 to 7, then you receive 5 times payout. So after you receive your final 5 times payout, you are already done with the plan. So you can now decide to renew the plan again with all your stakes renewed for the next year. So this is how PSL works for stakeholders. Stakeholders are free to enjoy the benefits of participating in PSL. You do not need to become a promoter as a stakeholder. So we are ongoing in receiving stakes from the first 720 stakeholders. It's still open right now, but does not have any guarantee. At the time you might be responding, we may have already reached our number. So, but we are going to make a major announcement once we reach that number of 720 stakeholders, which means if you've not seen that announcement yet on our Fixed Clip Data Right channel, it means that we have not yet reached that number. Since I celebrate every milestone, I'm going to make the announcement and you are going to learn about it. So right now, without that announcement, the opening is still there. And we might really be lagging behind if we don't get the fast response. Remember, first 20 who fund the maximum stake, that is over 144 stakes maximum in the first month. Remember, for each stake funded, there is an $80 professional training enrollment fee in our masterclass, which enables us to equip those professionals who will handle the stake for you. So we train those who will do the job for you so that you can spend time doing the other things you love or traveling around, knowing that you're going to receive your returns and your funds are in safe hands, okay? But if you were going to do it yourself, then we'll only set up the account for you. Not exactly for you, but we're going to set up the account with you, show you how to go about the operation. So you'll be given a basic training, of course. Then you start doing the staking the same way our professionals do it. However, the system applied for the DIY is not exactly the leverage system used for DFY. That is a difference. Since we want our DFY to be leverage and low risk, because since it is done for you, the risk has to be as low as possible. We use a different system that does not get automated, okay? Because there are people who are trained to do the job. Since people are trained to do the job, the human elements of these people will have to be considered so that we don't expose our liquidity, okay? We don't expose our liquidity to the possibility of a maximum drawdown. To limit the drawdown, we use a leverage system, which allows us to focus on 1:10 risk to reward ratio or 1:6 risk to reward ratio, depending on the outcome of each stake execution. But for those who are doing DIY, it is more of a high, we call it high frequency, okay, transaction. So there is a high frequency transaction required of the stakeholders. That is where the stakeholder needs to commit time. So you experience what DIY actually means. You commit time when doing it yourself. And this time multiplies your returns. That is why you get up to 45% weekly payout. You see, so if you didn't commit that much time, you could not get that much payout. That is the difference. Okay, then if you wanted to stake more than the minimum stake, so for the DIY you are working with a minimum stake which is $200, and then your enrollment fee for the month which is $80. You pay your enrollment fee once, okay, while doing your initial setup with your $200 stake. Of course, you manage your stake yourself. But if you want to add to your stakes, you have to do it that first week of setup, not afterwards. So for the DIY, you are working with a minimum stake so that if there is any drawdown, it does not affect you too much. Okay, since it is DIY, means there could be mistake. You could still be on your learning curve and you have not gained mastery or perfection. Okay, and it could take you about 6 months to gain mastery. So what keeps you, a buoy that keeps you floating as a DIY stakeholder, is that you have higher volume of transactions, and these transactions could get up to 45 units of transactions per day, so which requires high time commitments, high amount of time, okay, to commit to this. So for DIY, you are using time to make more money, while for DIY you are using money to make more money. For DFY, you are using money to make more money, while for DIY you are using time to make more money. So the more time you commit, okay, with your minimum stake as a DIY stakeholder, will earn you more money, which is up to 45% weekly payout of your minimum stake, which is $200. Then if you wanted to stake more, you will need to do it within the first week of setup, which means for each additional stake you intended, that will be put on an auto staking program. That auto staking program is what will hedge you against burnout while doing it yourself. So this is like a backup plan for a wise person who doesn't want to get frustrated if the system becomes too taxing. Okay, so you have to consider a backup plan where if I fall asleep, if I am tired, if I am busy, if I am called for one meeting or the other, it means I might miss opportunity for the day. Instead of missing out for the day, let me also have a backup, which is the auto staking. So if you are considering auto staking, which is the only way you can increase your stake when working DIY for your own best outcome. So we already recommend a best way to benefit the most from DIY. Then you plug into our auto staking plan. Okay, so the auto staking plan now will allow you to leverage our algorithmic trading activity, which is where the staking activity is carried out for you. Now, not by a trained professional, but by an algorithmic system already in place. Okay, so there is already a customized system that handles the auto staking for DIY stakeholders. That helps you in times when you might be weak, might not be available, may not be consistent, okay, or may be under the weather. So you can never tell. Rather than your own limitations affecting you, trust the algorithm to do that execution for you. Since the algorithm has already been customized, it does not fall asleep, it does not get tired, it does not get overwhelmed by activities. It was programmed and designed to carry high frequency transactions that a human person may get exhausted with. So this is where your auto staking comes in to help you also increase your stake, so that while working DIY with your minimum stake, you can also use our automated system, okay, to handle your auto staking activity still as a DIY stakeholder. That is leveraging the system while also using your time to learn the process, to master the process. Okay, now regardless of your trials and errors, okay, and the outcome, the auto staking already has its own fixed operation that has been fixed to pay out still same 45% weekly. So even if you miss out on your own activity, the auto staking still provides you with what? The same returns you are expecting at the end of the month. Now, the auto staking is an important contribution by PSL to the staking activity of the DIY stakeholders, so that you know that the PSL system was built not to frustrate, but to improve the lives of all its members, both stakeholders, both its trained professionals, and also the team members. Okay, so play along and enjoy the outcome. The returns are good for both the DIY stakeholders who trade time to get more money. So the more time they commit, the more money they make. Or the DFY stakeholders who invest money to make more money. So for the DIY stakeholders, your time is what you need to make more money, while for the DFY stakeholder, your money is what you need to make more money. This means we are also comparing the outcome of DIY and DFY for consistency. So we want DIY stakeholders who have time to commit their time. Don't be afraid to commit the time. Okay, the learning curve is also important for you as a person. That is self-education and personal improvement. Okay, so if you have the time, stick in the DIY option. Okay, the more time you commit to your activity, the more money you make to get your weekly payout. That is why your weekly payout is high, 45% weekly, because you do it yourself. We only provide you with the system for doing it effectively. Okay, then we provide you with the minimum required training to ensure that you can do it yourself while you are learning to master the process. Then for the DFY stakeholders, you do not need to commit the time, you need to commit the money. So DIY is for those who have the time, DFY is for those who have the money. Okay, so if you can afford above the minimum stake of $200 and the $80 enrollment fee for our trained professionals, but you do not have the time to do it yourself like a DIY stakeholder, then you should consider becoming a DFY stakeholder. And as a DFY stakeholder, all you need is to leverage the money you have. Okay, what 20% will be worth with $200, 20% will be worth more when you multiply your stake by 2 times, by 10 times, by 36 times, okay, and by up to 144 times in a month. So choose the DFY option if you have the money to commit, okay, up to $40,000 to commit as a DFY stakeholder. This will give you the maximum return of $68,000 in your first year. Welcome. Okay, so welcome to our new demonstration of our PSL entry projections. So right now, this is where we want to take our buy entry from based on our Power 40 scientific trading method. We have 3 buy entry levels here, and the market has come to our 3rd entry level. So let's mark the price of our 3rd entry level correctly. That is at 4406, 4406.40. That's our buy entry 1. Our last buy entry level, while our stop loss is at 4401. So now we want to watch how the market reacts to this entry level, whether or not it moves into profit or it goes to hit our stop loss. Now if it hits our stop loss, it means that we are going to enter again with our sophisticated loss recovery plan. So this is buy entry price 3 for 10k. This is 1k profit projection. So now let's see. Our stop loss is at 4401. So let's mark our stop loss so that we see whether the market comes to our stop loss. Then remember, once it comes to our stop loss, we are going to enter, repeating our last entry with 0.03 lot size at 4406.40. So let's see. If this entry goes in well, it means we are going to achieve 3,000 piece cumulative profit. So this is one advantage where we achieve 1:6 risk to reward ratio. So this is buy entry projection SL, from where it will trigger us to enter our enter our sophisticated loss recovery plan. So now let's mark our projection. Our projection is 1,000 pips. This is it. Let's see where we are expecting price to get to. All who are trading with us, this is exactly what we do. So it will go to 4506. That is our projection. 4506.40. That's first take profit level. This is 40.405466. Then we also have another take profit level at 45. We have 16, and we have last one. Okay, so this is, let's place it first as buy entry projection take profit 1. This is our take profit 1. Is our take profit 1. Okay, we have just made an. Okay, so our third entry is moving. Okay, our stop loss has not triggered. This is where our stop loss is. This is our entry price, last entry price. This is our second entry level. This is our third entry level. Okay, so if all these three levels move into profit, then we are going to be achieving 3,000 pips profit. Okay, so now we are watching for how this buy entry goes. Remember, the way we take our entries in our PSL luxury trading hubs is that we don't wait to see the buy start. We enter before the buy starts. We enter the moment the market comes into our entry zone, and we don't question our entry rules. So we are trading based on specific entry rules that we trade like robots. We don't question them. Okay, this is how we train our professionals to take our trades. Then as soon as we take the entries, we allow the entries to run while we watch for possible sophisticated loss recovery entry. That is to say, if the market gets down to our stop loss, see, our stop loss is always very close to the last entry. Okay, in our previous proof of March 5th and March 9th, okay, you saw each time the market came close to our stop loss, did not come to our stop loss, and we made the full profit. So this is another time we are demonstrating how this works, so that we can now see how consistent all those who are stakeholders in our luxury, in our CASHWAPP community are guaranteed of their returns. Okay, so whether weekly returns or monthly returns, they are guaranteed of return, because from each demonstration I show you in live market conditions, there has always been agreement with our entry plan. The market always returns the full value returns, okay? And it is a kind of return that you don't find from any other system, always above 1,000 pips profit. And now we want to see how that will come in again at this time. Now look at again our trade tools that we use, showing you that we are consistently applying these tools again and again and again. So I'm trying to go to the most recent tool added so that I can edit it, okay? So this was supposed to be 4-4. This is 4-5 and this is 4-4. Okay, and the time will be extended to 21. So now we have added the projection arrow. This is our final tool to show you where we are projecting price to TP1. So this projection arrow ends at TP1, taken from the last entry level here. So the next projection arrow will do the same thing, so that you know all the places we are entering and projecting from. So let's look at the TP2 will be 4511. Okay. Then 1406. So this is our buy projection, buy entry projection TP2. So that's our second projection arrow. Then our third projection arrow, let's extend this forward a bit. This is from our third entry level that will need to go into profit. So right now the market is below the third entry level. So let's extend the time. Okay, so now we have it extended. Now let's add our projection arrow to show that we are expecting 3 levels of take profit. Now these 3 levels of take profit are important because for each entry level we hold it to the full take profit. That is what it means. So we start exiting according to the first, second and third take profit. Altogether is 3,000 pips. Then we also have good reason if we want to hold or to the same final take profit, but we will only do that in rare cases. So this is for protecting our profit that we've already captured. 539513. That's the take profit 3. So buy entry projection take profit 3. Now if you look at each of these take profit prices we have set here, they are all 1,000 pips of take profits each. 1,000 pips of take profit each. So now let's look at how this finally turns out. You can see that our entry is going just as projected. And you saw that we took this entry while the wave was still looking downward. Okay. Now again, remember, we always have our sophisticated loss recovery plan set that shows how we mitigate risk. First of all, we anticipate the maximum risk we are willing to accommodate, and then we prepare ourselves where it happens. It becomes an opportunity to increase our profit targets. Okay, that is because we now use the last entry level, which turns into our first take profit projection. We now use the total lot size for all entries combined. So if we were using 0.01 lots per entry, after any loss is accommodated, we will now use 0.03. That means as the market is making one-time move, it's going with higher volume entry, okay, which will also result in higher profits per time. So this is how we play our entries, placing them safely and anticipating loss. So we are risk tolerant, not just having a profit appetite. We tolerate a certain amount of risk, we anticipate it, and we take advantage of it as an opportunity. Cool, welcome back. Now let me show you what the outcome of our call actually became at the end of the day. So remember, we took the entry from our last entry level, which is at 4406, and did our projection all the way for 1,000 pips per entry level, and we had 3 entry levels. We had entry level 1 at 4406, level 2 4411, and level 3 4421. Okay, so our total projection is to get our 3,000 pips cumulative profits, and I call this that same PSL. Okay, this same PSL luxury trading that leverages the Power 40 scientific trading method. Now let's see what the outcome became at the end of the day. This is what all our professionals are trained to respond to. We find this entry once, we call for the setups to be activated on each account for those who are managing our stakeholders funds, and then the outcome. And I told you the proof shown you on the 5th of March during live market condition was above 100% accuracy. I also repeated it on March 9th, also above 100% accuracy, and now March 27th. This is also going to show you the same pattern of consistency. So let's look at what happened. So the first time the market went back to the last entry level, it made a move above and returned back closing below. We didn't alter our setup, we retained our setup. Then the market came back down, tried to test the second entry level at 4411. Remember, we are buying, okay? If you look at our projection arrows, you see this for our buy TP3. Okay, then we are projecting it to get to 4521. Our last entry level is at 4421. So we are buying. Our entry projection is at take profit 3 level. It means if price gets here, all our 3 levels would have successfully been closed in profit. So now this is the final outcome. You can see here, this is where our entry reached 4510, and this is the last one at 4521. Okay, we actually had 3, so let me call back the last or the first take profit price that was projected. This is TP1. Okay, this is 4516. Remember that was set up already. Now let's see. Okay, sorry, this is an erroneous 4406 or 4516. That was how it was set up, and then the time was extended to 21. Okay, so let's set it back as it was. So you can see that, right? This is from entry level 1, entry level 2, entry level 3. Let's bring them all out so you see. Entry level 1, entry level 2, and entry level 3. So how do you see that? Now, the time the market returned back to retest, it only retested and stayed above entry level 3. Okay, and this was the final outcome. This was the final outcome, 4521. So you see how the market went straight up and got us into full profits, and coming back down, we are already out of the market with our full 3,000 pips profit. So this is what we call 1:10 risk to reward ratio, and in this case there was no loss. Okay, just like in the last 2 cases, there were no losses. So you can see that, right? We already accommodate the loss if it comes in, but it doesn't happen consistently. It doesn't happen because our setup is one like none else. Using a Power 40 scientific trading method, it is our proprietary trading method, which means we are not selling it to the public. We are not giving it out to institutions. It is only used to manage funds for our stakeholders, because it is from this activity that we carry out our development for our physical hubs into the full 4 surface values departments. So we are leveraging this for the benefit of all our stakeholders, of our trained professionals, and all others who will benefit from what we do, both as staff members, as promoters, and the general public. Now, like I told you, this has proven itself again and again and again and again consistent. Now, if this is not enough to tell you that the returns are huge for anyone who is plugging into the PSL luxury trading activity, either as a professional trained to work with us or as a stakeholder leveraging the training of our professionals, then I wonder if there's anything else that will be more convincing. This is real proof. I showed you from the beginning and I'll show you at the end. This is the same day. Nothing here has been altered, nothing here has been changed, and this is now in history. So this is history of consistency, history of accuracy, history of reliability, and of course it is sustainable because we have a system that is already existing based upon which we call for all setups, and based on this also we make money for our stakeholders. This is where our DFY stakeholders benefit the most, and our DIY stakeholders will learn by doing it themselves. So this is ours that is not sold out. Okay, so if you are waiting to see more proofs like this is one of them. So I might decide to show you another live trading day again in future, and that is for those who did not see the previous proofs. So I hope this has made my point clear that you can trust the PSL, okay, luxury lifestyle brand. You can trust PSL luxury lifestyle brand and work with us.